Let's first familiarize ourselves with my Ayaka. Her stats are as follows. First with the Black Cliff Longsword, and here are her stats with the Mist Splitters Reforged. More importantly, the Mist Splitter Reforged passive at Refinement 5 can provide Ayaka up to 80% bonus elemental damage, which is absolutely massive. We'll be seeing how each of her constellations affect her kit's damage output. Before looking at her constellations though, let's quickly compare the difference in damage between the weapons. With the Black Cliff Longsword, Ayaka's burst ticks are doing 10,306 damage. With the Mist Splitters Reforged, she is doing 16,686 damage per tick. This is already a 62% increase in damage just from the weapon alone. Moving forward though, we'll be using the Mist Splitter at Constellation 0 as the baseline for her other constellations to compare to. Starting off with Constellation 1, every basic attack has a 50% chance to reduce the cooldown on her E by 0.3 seconds. Given Ayaka's attack frequency, if you're using her basic attacks, I personally averaged around 7 to 8 seconds per E. This is a 2 to 3 second reduction in comparison to her original 10-second cooldown. I consider this a very modest gain in effectiveness, and personally I'd give this constellation a 2 slime rating out of 5 slimes. Overall, a rather poor constellation. The next constellation, Constellation 2, is where things start to get interesting for Ayaka. Constellation 2 adds 2 smaller bursts to Ayaka's burst. Each of these smaller bursts do 20% of the original big burst damage, and they fly off to the left and right by about 30 degrees. If both the small bursts connect, this leads to a whopping 40% gain in total burst damage. However, this constellation can be pretty situational and requires a large and mobile target to fully utilize. This constellation increases each burst tick's damage, if both the small bursts connect, to 23,360 damage, for a 40% gain in comparison to the previous constellation. I will have to give this constellation a 5 slime rating out of 5 slimes, even though it is not always consistent and applicable in every scenario. This constellation provides sensory overload to blind both you and your enemies, and it is extremely satisfying to connect 60 ticks of burst damage on a large target. Constellation 3 is next, and this is a simple +3 levels to Ayaka's burst. If we're going from talent level 9 to talent level 12, this increases the sum of the main burst plus the 2 smaller bursts tick damage to 27,483 damage. This is a hefty 18% increase to Ayaka's burst damage in comparison to her Constellation 2 counterpart. Since this is further boosting Ayaka's burst damage, I have no choice but to give this constellation a 5 slime rating. And although a simple and straightforward constellation, sometimes bigger numbers is all we care about. The next constellation, Constellation 4, turns Ayaka into an interesting and powerful burst support with 30% defense shred. Against a level 93 enemy, this increases her burst's follow-up ticks after the first tick, since the first tick does not get the benefit of the defense down, to a whopping 32,377 damage per tick. Guys, remember there are 20 ticks to Ayaka's burst. If you can get all 3 of her burst thingies to connect, we're talking over 600,000 damage just by pressing the Q key. However, getting all 3 to hit is another story, and some targets, despite being deceptively large like the Primo Geo Bishop, are oddly difficult to do this to. Why oh why are we forced to auto-target the Primo Geo Bishop's paws? Can't we just aim it where we want to aim it? Alas, that will never happen in Genshin Impact. Anyway, I digress. This constellation increases Ayaka's burst damage by another 18% against a level 93 target, and this constellation deserves an easy 5 slime out of 5 slime rating. Next is Constellation 5, which boosts her E damage by 17.6% from levels 9 to 12. Yeah, definitely not worth the polls if you're going for just this constellation. I will give this one a 1 slime rating. Now really quick, before I show you guys the super interesting Constellation 6, might I ask you to smash that subscribe button? I do put in a ton of effort into these videos, and it's the best way you can support my channel. And finally, her Constellation 6 is a very interesting constellation. It boosts her charge attack damage by 298%. This 298% goes into the bonus damage multiplier. We can see the effect it has on Ayaka's charge attack damage, bumping it up from 8,511 damage per slash to 18,673 damage per slash, a 119.4% increase to her charge attack damage. Now unfortunately, it has a 10-second cooldown, so if you're spamming her charge attacks, this will only apply to 1 charge attack every 10 seconds, but it does have a cool visual indicator on Ayaka's hand when it's ready. I personally believe that this constellation deserves a 4 slime out of 5 slime rating. Although it opens up a lot of new possibilities for Ayaka, you do have to get Constellation 5 as well, and considering you need to get 2 constellations for this one constellation essentially, that's why I'm only giving it a 4 slime out of 5 slime rating. Now let's rewind a bit back to Ayaka's Constellation 4. Looking at this, we can see through her constellations alone that they increase her burst damage by 94%, from 16,686 damage per tick at Constellation 0 to 1 to 32,377 damage per tick at Constellation 4. If you compare this to the free-to-play Blackcliff Longsword's damage at Constellation 0, which was 10,306 damage, we can see that this whale setup ends up doing over 3 times the amount of damage that the Blackcliff Longsword did with her burst. So what can we do with this crazy boost to her burst damage? Well, we can do this. Fortunately, even with the Blackcliff, a Constellation 0 Ayaka can still one-cycle the overworld Primo Geo Vishap and the other bosses with a full team. But compared to just solo Ayaka doing her burst against those bosses, this is an insane jump in her damage through her constellations. I've always believed that constellations should boost your character's damage by around 2-fold, and this is actually the case for Ayaka, surprisingly. However, once you factor in the Mist Splitter as well, Ayaka ends up doing over triple the damage of a Constellation 0 free-to-play setup with the Blackcliff Longsword. So what do you guys think about the power gap between the free-to-play setup with the Blackcliff Longsword and the whale setup with a Constellation 6 Refinement 5 Mist Splitter Ayaka? As for my personal opinion on Ayaka specifically, her Constellation 2 limits its own effectiveness against many smaller targets. Ayaka is already an amazing boss slayer even at Constellation 0, and with these constellations, her boss slaying potential is amplified even further. And if you may have noticed, now that my Ayaka is properly set up, the next video that's coming is going to be Ayaka vs Ganyu in a DPS showdown. I'm super excited to bring you guys that video, so be sure to stay tuned. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Win to Lose, signing out.
Russian car fighting. Well, it's not just Russian car fighting, it's called Karjutsu. Karjitsu. But yeah, they're blowing up on Twitter. I know all about it. They also have phone booth boxing. Yeah, you might recognize the caster. It's JT, baby. I thought it was actual car fighting. No, they just fight in a car.
Oh, right away,
oh goodness gracious, he got the unbuckle. The unbuckle record there.
And blocks the seatbelt of Davidson. You can see here in the top left-hand corner of your screen. Reaches over, blocks the seatbelt with his left hand.
This is like some technique Dale would have taught you from Detroit Survival Training Fitness.
Davidson into the driver's side door, and right now you can see he's trying to slide his knee through for neon belly or possibly even mount here.
Oh, he's in a bad position there.
It looks like he's got the driver's side.
Oh, he's gonna strangle him with the seatbelt.
That driver's side seatbelt around the neck of Davidson. And Davidson, it's just
I haven't seen this one. Jesus Christ.
He's figured out what's happening.
Oh my God.
He's got that seatbelt wrapped all the way around his throat. He's trying to defend, but there's not a lot that can be done here. He is in a bad situation. And
yeah, that's rough.
That, Raymond Felton wins. Davidson doesn't
this
look
is barbaric. You don't know the meaning of the word barbaric.
And you can see here in the
this is civilized.
Here, Felton right away gets to smashing, and as soon as he
action movie combat,
yeah. Seatbelt, he grabs the seatbelt. You can see right
wait until he
here,
hits the ejector seat.
To push it across. Good job, Ray.
Oh God! Now Davidson's got the driver's seat. He'll start banging his head on the fucking steering wheel, honking the horn with it.
Okay, round 2 underway, and it looks like.
Oh, he got the seatbelt again. You can't keep giving up the seatbelt.
Ray already all over Davidson. Davidson's trying to get.
Oh wow, good wiggle, good wiggle. Oh, that's rough.
That front headlock. That's the go. Not a lot of room to work.
Maybe throw him through the sunroof.
Okay,
oh, good recline, good recline.
Passenger side seat. Gets caught around his left arm, and currently.
Well, he's in a good position right now, though. He's got that like squatting lotus technique going on. Oh, that might be all she wrote.
Ray's got quite a bit of experience in suit. It takes a submission.
Oh, he's going to the back seat. Oh, you can't give up the back seat.
That means essentially is that Davidson has.
If there's one thing I've learned from Salt, that Angelina Jolie movie.
He will lose the match. If he can get his
oh God, fake taxi's popping off. Recline the driver's side seat.
Doesn't look like Ray's gonna let that happen.
Full mount.
I think Ray would rather give up his back here, and that's what's happening. Davidson taking the back of Felton.
Damn, what a turnaround.
It doesn't look like he's both absolutely exhausted, and it's almost 90 degrees inside the car. It is a miserable.
Oh yeah, they didn't even turn on the air conditioner. Oh no!
The safety lock stops Davidson, and it looks like Ray heard the safety lock and then grabbed this. Is going to happen.
This is like wrestling, but with also doing the hot car challenge.
Davidson can try and secure something here, but he doesn't have any time to finish.
No, there's no time to finish here.
Oh, we've got a tap. Wow.
Oh, wait, what?
1 second left. Davidson rear naked choke tap out over Ray.
Okay, little plot twist there.
Wow, let's take a look at the replay here.
Everything wasn't lost at Make Out Reef this time.
Q Davidson won the second round with a rear naked choke, and here
they should add another element to this. Like when they're in their backseat component, there should be an Uber driver up front, and you get like a, I don't know, maybe something on the judge's scoring card if you tip him.
And he's trying to fiddle with the seatbelt.
Maybe get the headrest off and start beating him with it.
And it looks like the safety lock And he's got it.
Oh, that's gonna be tough.
6 points. That'll go to the leaderboard for the season. But right now,
They should add a component where the vehicle's moving, so you have to do it in a moving
He's
vehicle
got the seatbelt, and
too.
He's trying to wrap it around. You can hear these two athletes breathing. This is it. They are miserable and absolutely exhausted.
Oh!
Jameson pushes the passenger seat forward,
He said
and
enough
now he's got the
fishy
seatbelt
business.
all the way
I want the
around
whole
neck
seatbelt.
of Ray Felt, and he's got the seatbelt on the right
He's
side.
got two
He's gonna reach
seatbelts.
under now with his
He's
right
dual
hand.
wielding.
He's going to reach under and he's going to grab the
fucking
seatbelt
decapitate
and
him.
pull it behind the head of Felton, pushing with his left hand and using his right forearm. And
Yeah,
there
no
you have
shot,
it.
yeah.
The seat
There was
gets
no
seatbelt
shot he gets
show
out of that.
by Q Davidson to win the match. Almost looked like we were watching a crime. Raymond Felton, fantastic fight. Q Davidson.
That did look like a crime. It was like murder
come from behind
footage.
win. Let's take a look at the replay here.
Edison versus Punisher. Okay, just one more quick one. With a name like that. Oh god, he's got the door open. He fucking starts slamming his head against it. Slamming the door into it.
Oh, here he goes.
Oh, jeepers!
Side of the car,
Oh,
and there he goes.
fuck.
He's throwing Sam out.
Oh god, they even broke the windshield. What the fuck
Here,
happened?
leverage with his,
Jesus, wait, this one's crazy.
and there it is.
4 points, red.
Oh, what? Now this is an interesting thing.
Season's leaderboard, but more
The motorboat of death.
position to be in. The opponent is behind the steering wheel. Faust is looking to make
Good tactic, though. Open the door.
A little bit of space here so he can work, and he's opened up the driver's side door, which doesn't seem like it's
Smother him with his
good
own
for
tits there. That was a good strategy.
Sam just, it looked like an unintentional eye poke there.
Yeah, that is a big guy. Holy
Laying
shit.
Flat in the driver's side seat with his head on the armrest.
Maybe put a finger in his ear. Lick your finger and put in his ear a little wet willy. It'll stun him.
Sam's looking for that right
All's
arm,
fair
he's
in
looking for the
Karjitsu.
left arm.
Oh
Sam's
god.
just hunting here, and it
We
doesn't look like
got to
he's
get something
in a
cooking here.
great position.
Come on, Rance. Get your finger and like go up and down on his lips. Give him one of
Faust
those.
either into the car or Faust is shrimping
It'll
his
scare
way
him.
over to the other seat. Oh, here he goes.
No,
He's up on
baby.
the Side of the car, and there he goes. He's throwing Sam out. Sam's head is
He's
about
wiggling.
an inch from the mat in front of the
It
throne.
looks like being in the driver's seat is a huge
Sam's very
disadvantage.
calm. You can look at his eyes and see he's very, very calm here, but he's in a bad position. Faust
This
is
looks very-
mount. He's got
this almost looks
about 8
romantic.
inches worth of seatbelt here. The safety lock has kept him from.
He's not even taking the threat seriously right now.
I think Sam is successfully defending. Get a different camera.
What is he?
Faust
I can't tell what I'm looking. Oh my
He's
god.
gripping the wire that holds the headrest to the seat, and also in that hand.
Yeah,
he's
that's
got
gonna be tough.
8 inches of seatbelt. So he has got Sam trapped against the seat.
This is one of those moments where you need to be able to breathe out of your ass.
Sam is unable to move. His head is stuck to the seat. He's being choked by the seatbelt. Faust is in position. He's got.
Oh, he's getting with like the Joker laugh. They're going crazy in the hot
What he's
car.
gonna do with it, but he has got a fantastic.
Someone let out a little fart there. What was that?
Here for some sort of a front choke.
Oh, that'd be a good strategy actually.
Not
Stink him
allowing
out,
work inside the car,
rip ass, and then go to town. I think Rance really kind of took control of this round here.
and it looks like we'll go into the third round.
That's the back seat time.
Heavy breathing from both competitors.
Yeah, these are some big boys here for the back seat. That's not a whole lot of room to work.
Faust is trying to shove him in between the
What are you
seats,
watching?
and just a little bit of a misstep by Sam has put him in a
Oh, you gave up your belly.
Holy
You
smokes.
showed your belly. You showed tummy. Oh, but wait a minute.
Sam, the bully choke, but while doing so, he has absolutely gotten himself into a bad spot. His hips are trapped between the two front seats, and you can't
Oh,
see
yeah,
how
that's gonna be all she wrote.
Has figure forward the legs of Samuel Eidson.
He's gonna turn the car on, rip the wires out, and shock him with it.
Currently, Faust is a very, very serious situation here. There's no mobility whatsoever for Sam.
Yeah, he's got his legs locked there. He's got him in like a coffin
Oh
stance.
my gosh. Sam's trying to stay as calm as possible, but to escape.
Yeah, I think this one's kaput.
Points or
I don't see how Sam gets out of this.
here. He's gonna jiggle
Unless he
the
rips the
keys here.
steering wheel off and starts like slapping him around with it.
Oh, he's going to jiggle the keys here, create a little bit of a diversion. And he has absolutely passed from the back seat to the front seat. He still has mount. Wow.
Jiggling the
Punishes
keys
the
for a
tricky little guy
diversion.
here. That was clever. Floorboard.
Just hide in the floorboard, Sam. He can't get you there.
Okay, here.
What is
Trying to
happening?
win this fight right here. 10
Oh,
seconds. Holy smokes. Sam's
that-
head is stuck behind the steering wheel.
What is?
Sam
Jesus!
Oh my gosh.
What is the?
And a verbal
Jeepers
from
creepers!
Sam, and Faust has in the match. Rance the Punisher Faust by submission. Holy smokes.
All right.
Wow. Championship.
Man, Sam was in such firm control for round one,
The second round was a
but then it was
toss-up,
all
but
Rance.
The third round, it was